Day 30, the final day of all the Pasurams. Everything is dedicated to Lord Krishna, sung by Divine Andal. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So let's all in that collective consciousness offer our salutations to Krishna in this final pasuram, final prayer. Her prayer signifies the ultimate reward of devotion, completely what she has achieved, attaining eternal bliss, attaining that complete surrenderness. Through surrenderness, she attained the possibility, the chance of serving the Lord, and she's singing the glory, not only glory, she's singing the beauty of the Lord, such beautiful Lord. And she's, while singing about the beauty of this Lord, she says that, you are that guna, you are that Saundarya guna, you are that, Saundarya, that affection, that love, that beauty, you are that supreme father, you are that mother, you are that ultimate joy, you are that everything, and you are this complete culmination for me in this Janma. So that is a dasya bhakti she's singing. So in this verse, the last verse, it's a beautiful beginning. She says Vanga kadal kadanda Madhavanai Keshavanai. So she's using the word Madhavan and Keshavan here. So earlier she was always calling him by his first name, like Krishna and Krishna. Now she's saying Madhava and Keshava. So in this prayer, while she's saying that, she's reminding of Vanga Kadal Kadain, that means she's talking about the incident of ocean churning. In that ocean churning, what happened, we all know that all the Devas were on one side and the Asuras were the other side, and the nectar of immortality came up, and at that time, Mother Lakshmi came out from there, from the sea, and Krishna and Vishnu took her as a consort. So similarly, she's saying, when the Lord, to the Lord, she says, the churning of ocean is in my life, the samsara that I'm leading. The life that I'm leading is that ocean that I'm churning within me. And may your mercy, your love, your affection for me, may all that come fall on me. And even though slightest discomfort of this body, whatever I have, may all that be turned into my ultimate chetana, ultimate awareness. And may that be my sankalpa, that may that by my sankalpa, my wish, that the way you are churning, may that churning rod inside me, bring your grace. May that be like a rope, and may I attain you as this Jivatma, may I attain you, O Paramatma. So she reminds of that episode of ocean churning. And esoterically, it represents churning of the soul, and materialistically, on the material earth, as normal human beings, as grahastas, it also mentions about the way we are being churned by our karmas. When the karmas are unfolding, we feel that our life is very, testing. God is testing us, and life is very tough, and we feel that somebody has put us in a pot and they're going on churning us. So that represents churning of the devotee's heart, and all that what needs to be impurity that needs to be removed within that, all should be removed, then only the pure butter comes out. So that impurity within me, within all the humanity, is countless desires, many forms of egos, and all that, Krishna, I need to leave. So help me that I remove, you remove all of that, and the pure nectar of your pure love, that that bestows from your beautiful eyes, that bestows from your soft appearance, be there. And may that come into me and churn into my mind. And as you're churning your bhakti into my mind, may that ocean rise up within me. And then may I be able to cross over this janma, no matter what existence I'm leading in this life. But may all that be over and help me cross over this ocean, that I reach you. So that's the final pasuram, which complete union and complete moksha. So she calls him as Madhavan. Madhavan is the beloved husband of Krishna, beloved husband of Lakshmi. And Keshavan, she talks about Keshava here, representing the power, the ability to kill the demon Keshri. So Andal shifts from normal words to all the supreme names of Madhava and Keshava. That means that supreme, that all encompassing Narayana. You are the source of sustenance, you are the source of sustaining all celestial beings, and you are the one who revealed yourself as a Vishwarupa in your Vishwarupa Darshanam. So you come to me as a naughty little Krishna, and I am so much in love with you, and that I request you that you bestow with your love, your kindness, that I am able to cross over all the sorrows and obstacles of my life. And then there is also, she says, you have such beautiful, look at us, we all are beautiful moon faced ladies, and we aren't just gopis, we all are these moon faced ladies who are in front of you. She's talking about herself and all her friends. So she says, we are individual souls, we are individual jivatmas, and we all are aspiring desperately to be in that union with you, O Lord. So we are drawn by your divine Saundarya, and that is why we are here. Then she says the very goal of this eternal bliss with you is that, Nitya Anubhava. Why am I in love with you? Why is that I need you? So my love for you is at Nitya Anubhava. So she says, I want to go on bowing to you. I need to go on worshipping you. That is the essence of Sharanagati, that I'm never over with you. I'm always with you, and I want that Nitya Anubhavam with you, oh Lord. And Krishna, please, can you, she requested a drum. So Krishna will grant the drum as a reward. So what is a drum? Drum is an announcement which symbolizes the ultimate boon. So that announcement, oh yes, you are that one who you always wanted to be. You are my beloved, and you are with me, and I always keep you with me wherever I am. So that is why the drum, that reward that she is asking for moksha. And with all the literal goals of the 30-day austerity, that vow that she performed, the vrata that she performed, and the drum that she's asking for, so like a little baby, she's been asking for the drum that symbolizes the gradual awakening of the soul's senses. So the 30th verse signifies her final union, the Jivatman, in that realization, an eternal relationship with that supreme Paramatman, completely united with that Paramatman. So let's, this Andal's life be our inspiration, her spiritual journey from Krishna to Narayana, the journey of Tirupavai, and her divine prayers, may that bless us and move us from our personal pains and personal defeat and personal issues to our intimate relationship with our beloved Krishna, that cosmic universal Narayana, reflecting that expansion of consciousness, of individual self to that huge, universal consciousness only through my Sharanagati, that devotion. So this entire Tirupavai of 30 days of shlokas, they act as profound commentary, just like Vedas, that bhakti, that surrenderness, that wisdom, from getting up first, talking about the Lord, then inspiration of self, then inspiring others, then early morning vows, and then continuously singing the glory of the Lord and being very adamant at the doorstep, come what may, I'm not going to go away. So that kind of bhakti which she's talking about, that is that truth of truth between the relation, in a relationship between God, Jivatman, and Paramatman, or God and his creations like us. So Andal promises that those who follow this path will experience the same bliss as she experienced, or the same bliss as Lakshmana experienced in Panchavati, in the state of pure, unwavering delight at the presence of the Lord's presence. So this essence of the 30th Pasuram is a grand finale where she's summarizing her her life, her bhakti in that understanding, in that surrenderingness to the Supreme Narayana, Lord Vishnu. And she says, what you are enjoying, whether I'm singing your glory or I'm with you at your Dasya Bhav, with my Dasya Bhav, what you enjoy is not important. What I enjoy is not important. Finally, she reaches to that level. You better enjoy my presence with you. So I am doing all this because you enjoy. So that's the ultimate of bhakti, where she says, I am fulfilling my complete highest purpose of life, achieving of that ultimate union with you, O Krishna. So that was the beautiful journey that we all took with the pasurams that we have been chanting and we have been understanding. It's been quite a journey for me also with all of you, I must say that, from first Pasuram to the 30th Pasuram. As a child, I've just read it with my mother and I only know to chant it. And here comes the meaning to the best of my understanding. And I try to make it as simple as possible for all of us to read, to understand. And it was an effort for, small effort from my side to bring this beautiful piece of work and beautiful bhakti bhav which is flowing like a river, written completely in Tamil, in the Tamil language, to the northern belt of the Hindi speaking people. Though I've used a language, English language, to communicate to the larger audience, and I'm sure that each one of you is so motivated and moved that the following year, in the same Dhanur Mahasa, we will all again do this collective vrata of invoking, inviting, visualizing, seeing, and feeling and experiencing Krishna all around us. Hare Krishna. Stay blessed.